I'm Janelle from Project School Wellness, and I just wanted to take a second to show you how you can use our resources to teach students on Google Classroom. So we want to start off just by opening up whatever resource that you are wanting to teach. So for the example here, we're going to use Dimensions of Health, which is the second lesson in our Intro to Health module, which is a free module. So if you don't have access to it, please connect with me and I'll be able to make sure that you can access those lessons. All right, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is open up the teaching guide, and you're just going to look through the teaching and see, okay, what are the things that I need to add to my Google Classroom? So we need to add a discussion, learning station activities, a few more discussions, and then a little exit prompt. So what we're going to do, starting off with this first discussion, we're going to copy it. Then you're going to go to your Google Classroom and make sure you pick the right class. So this is our test class, click classwork, and then we're going to create. So the first thing we're going to do is a question. And so since this is the first thing students are going to do, I'm just going to put task 1 just to keep it organized. And then I'm going to decide, okay, maybe you have a rubric for students answering questions and it's out of 4. You can put 4 or you can leave ungraded. And then choose a due date. I want to this in a topic for this lesson. So like I said, it's the dimensions of health. That's the lesson. So that's going to be the topic. And then if you want students to be able to edit and reply, click those. And then we're going to click ask. So now this is a part of our stream. So then I'm going to go back to the the teaching guide, and I'm going to see, okay, the next thing to do is the learning stations. So when we do learning stations, we need to use a Google form, and to use a Google form, we can't just go here and add the link that I have provided here. Instead, you need to make a copy of this Google form so that you can then access your students' responses. If you just share this link here, then I will get students' responses, and that is not going to help you be able to check in with their learning and to assess what they are doing in class. So real quick, let's look at how do we make a copy. So first thing you want to do is you want to make just make sure you have 2 of these folders open, because it's not going to copy into this folder. So I have 2 open. So I'm going to actually go to this other one, and it's the same thing, but I'm going to click make a copy. And when it's done making a copy, it's going to tell me where that file is at. So I'm going to say show file location. And then the first thing I'm going to do is move this file to the Google Drive folder connected with my Google Classroom class, whatever class you're working on. So here's my Google Classroom, and then this is the class that I'm working on. So I'm going to say move here. Then I'm going to go to that folder and I'm going to make a few edits there before sharing it with my students. So this was, from earlier, so I'm just going to remove this not to confuse you. So here's the one that we just moved here. So you're going to, first thing, we're going to rename this. Just rename it whatever class it is, or your date, whatever your file or whatever your organization system is. So I'm going to say test, and my test, this is the test date. And so then I'm going to also open it to see if there's any edits that I need to make. So whenever I share Google Forms with teachers, I put a big do not share this, make a copy first. So you want to take that out before sharing it with students. So I'm just going to take this part out, and then it's going to have just the title. Then you might want to change this here, a multiple choice, and then add in whatever your grades are. So let's say that grade 8th grade, and you have 3 sections. So then we're going to just do, this will make it really easy to sort once students have added their responses. Okay, so now that's all set. I want to make sure that doesn't require signing in, and that's simple there. And now it's ready to be shared with students. So we're going to go back to our Google Classroom, and we're going to add an assignment. And so again, this is task number 2. We're going to say learning stations, dimensions of health. If you want to add some directions, maybe this is, your students don't usually do this, you want to add some specific directions. Now we're going to add a Google form. So we're gonna, it should just come up in recent. If not, go to Drive. Okay, there it is right there. Then we're gonna click apply to this, and when students open their assignment, they will be able to click that. So you want to change your points or ungraded, whatever your system is. Then we want to do set a date and then add it to our topic. Okay, then you're going to press assign. So now this is in your students stream here. So now we're going to go back to teaching guide. Sorry, let me reopen it. Go back to that teaching guide, and then the next thing is another discussion. So this is after students have done the learning stations, they're going to do some discussing. Sorry, let's just make it a little easier there. So question, this is task number 3. Again, change your points, whatever your points are, get the date, add to dimensions of health, and then you click those as needed, and we're going to do ask, and then we have another question. So we're going to do this, and then go back, question again. This time it's task number 4, and go through these same steps again, and there you go. And then the last thing is an exit task. So we're just going to record this last thing here. And then for the last one, you can just put exit task and then ask students to do the following. And then however, maybe it's ungraded since it's just a formative assessment. And then add the same things. Maybe you don't want this to be something they can reply to each other. Maybe this is just for you. So you can click that off, whatever you would like. And then if you, so now we have all of the different tasks for this lesson. So now what you're going to do, you have this set up, and so organize these to read correctly, so it's a little bit easier for students to work through each task. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make a video to teach students this lesson. So now you have everything set up that they need to do the lesson as you're teaching, and now you're going to make a video just like the one that I'm doing here with you for students so that they can follow along, learn the content, do the activities, and then move on to the next thing. So to make a video, you want to have the PowerPoint as the background. Well, you don't have to, but that's what I like to do because it gives students another visual that they can follow along with, and sometimes students need to hear it and they need to see it and read it. So I then go to the teaching PowerPoint and open slides, and then I will make it its own screen. You can go back and forth between the students' Google Classroom. So I can go back and forth between their Google Classroom here and the screen. So I'm going to click present, and once it's all set up to present, then I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to click Loom and get the video going, and then I'm going to have the video on the screen, and then I'm going to teach students and go through each of these things with students, giving them a little bit more insight, giving them more directions, all the while going between this and then going and showing them where they're expected to do things on their Google Classroom. And I actually made a video for an instruction teaching video as an example for this lesson that you can look at to get an idea of how you might like to structure your videos when you're teaching students. So then after you've created your video, and you can go to your Loom account and get it. So here's my Loom account. so many folders open. I know that that's a little bit confusing. I'm sorry. So you're going to go to your Loom account, and let's say this is my example here. So I'm just going to copy the link. Just copy the link there. And then I'm going to go back to my Google Classroom here, and I'm going to put material. So I'm going to tell students, start here, teaching video. And I say, watch this link. And then here's the link for them. Here, I think. Yeah, you can add it there and watch the link. All right, and then we want to post again, choose the topic, and then post this for students. So now we want that to be at the top. So now, when a student is ready to do your lesson, they're gonna go to their feed. So this is from my husband's account. They're gonna click your class, and then they're gonna go to classwork, and they see, okay, here's my health. Okay, I'm gonna start with my video. Then I'm gonna go and do these different things as I go throughout the lesson. Right. So that is how you can use our lessons to teach on Google Classroom, and I really recommend using Loom as a video to keep you in the corner and then to share your screen, whether it be a PowerPoint or walking through students through an activity or lesson. It's a great way to make sure that students are staying on task and to give them an engaging learning experience that is not confusing and it's simple. So if you have any questions about how to use our resources on Google Classroom, please don't hesitate to connect. And just remember to give yourself grace. There's a big learning curve with distance learning, and it's totally normal and natural that it might take you and your students a little bit of time to get into a groove that fits for you. But just please continue to press on and to keep working to empower your students to live healthy lives and to help them learn how to intentionally work so that they can thrive and just live their best life. So thank you, and if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to connect at projectschoolwellness.com/contact.